Hola amigos, soy Juani. En la clase de hoy, we're going to go through something that can get a little bit confusing when you're learning Spanish, which is using también y tampoco. So también y tampoco. So as I said, it gets a little bit confusing, but it is really important to learn because you'll find it's just going to help your Spanish conversation sound a lot smoother, especially when you're speaking with native speakers because they use it all the time. So I'm just going to quickly go through the differences between the two, how to identify when to use each one, and then at the end I've got a quick quiz for you just to again test you to see if you are starting to understand when to use también and when to use tampoco. Alright, cool. So I'm going to start off by giving you a few examples. Now the most basic way to use también, for example, is I wanted to say I've got two uncles and also two aunties. I would simply say tengo dos tíos y también dos tías. Okay, so tengo dos tíos y también dos tías. All right, so that's the most basic way, okay, of using también. So I won't really worry about going too much into that way because everyone pretty much understands how it works that way. We're going to take it a step further and go into something a little bit more complicated. All right, so for example, if you're speaking in Spanish to someone and they say, quiero ir a la playa. So quiero ir a la playa. And you wanted to say me too, you would simply say yo también. So yo también. So me too, or me as well. All right, let me give you another example. Me gusta tocar la guitarra. So me gusta tocar la guitarra. And you wanted to agree. In this situation, you'd say a mí también. So a mí también. All right, so looking at those two phrases, can you kind of figure out why in one instance you'd say yo también, and in the other instance you'd say a mí también? Okay, so the easiest way to identify which one you'd use is think of it like this. So when you talking about actions that you're in control of, so actions you're in control of. For example, before someone said quiero ir a la playa. Okay, so going to the beach is something you're in control of. So in that instance, you'd say yo también. So yo también. So whenever someone's talking to you and they're talking in terms in which you can actually control the situation, you'd simply use yo también in that instance. All right, now let's look at the second example. Me gusta tocar la guitarra. Now that is something that you're not in control of. Okay, so things that you like doing, or things that you love doing, or things that you have an interest in, okay, those are things that you're not really in control of. It varies from person to person. So I love history, for example, but other people don't like history. And it's not their choice, okay, you can't choose to like history. It's just you like something or you don't like something. Okay, so in that instance, when you're talking about, or when the other person's talking about things that you can't control, e.g., I like playing the guitar, to agree with them, in this case, you'd say, a mí también. So, a mí también. So I hope that kind of makes sense, but let me give you a few other examples, this time using tampoco, and it's going to be in a similar sense, but when we use tampoco, we're agreeing with what someone's saying, but we're agreeing in a negative statement. Por ejemplo, no me gusta correr. So, no me gusta correr. And you want to agree with them, you'd say, a mí tampoco. So a mí tampoco. So again, I don't like running. It's not something I can control. It's just something I don't enjoy doing. And you're simply agreeing with me. And it's a negative statement. So in this case, you'd say a mí tampoco. All right, let me give you another example. Someone says, no quiero estudiar esta noche. So no quiero estudiar esta noche. So I don't want to study tonight. Now again, that's a situation you can control. Okay, but it is a negative statement. So you'd say yo tampoco. So yo tampoco. So what I'm going to do now is give you a quick quiz just to test you and then see if everything is starting to make sense. All right, so for this exercise, let's just pretend that you agree with all the statements I'm saying. All right. And remember your answers, you can answer with yo tampoco or yo también, or you can answer with a mí también or a mí tampoco. All right, so let's get into it. All right, número uno. Voy a ir al supermercado mañana. So voy a ir al supermercado mañana. What would you say to agree with me? Okay, you'd simply say yo también. So yo también. So again, a situation you can control. Positive statement, so you'd say, yo también. All right, número dos. No me gusta tu camiseta. So, no me gusta tu camiseta. What would you say in this instance? Cool, so you'd say, a mí tampoco. A mí tampoco. Again, negative statement. It is a situation that you can't control. Okay, so a mí tampoco. All right, número tres. No quiero ir al gimnasio hoy. So, hoy no quiero ir al gimnasio. All right, la respuesta es, en este caso, yo tampoco. So, yo tampoco. Again, negative statement, a situation you can control. So, yo tampoco. All right, is it starting to sink in? Okay, let's go a few more just to make sure. Vivo en Australia. So, vivo en Australia. Cool, so you'd say, yo también. So, yo también. All right, I think you're getting the hang of it. Let's just go a couple more. Me encanta la comida de España. So, me encanta la comida de España. Cool, so you'd agree and say, a mí también. So, a mí también. All right, awesome. No me gusta nadar. So, no me gusta nadar. Awesome. A mí tampoco. So, a mí tampoco. All right, cool. So that is it from me for today. So I hope that makes sense. So just remember that. También, tampoco, or a mí también, or a mí tampoco. Think of situations you can control and other situations that you can't control, and whether it's a positive or a negative statement. As always, if you've got any other questions, feel free to hit me up. But apart from that, that's it from me. Hasta pronto.